All right, now that we have learned how to draw a line of best fit and kind of estimate it and put it on a graph and do a little interpretation with it, we're going to see if we can use some graphing technology to draw our line of best fit and do a little bit more interpretation. So our first investigation here, selecting a line of best fit. Which of the lines is the best fit for the data in each scatter plot? Explain your reasoning. So remember, there was really two qualifications that I was talking about in our notes, and that would be number one, a line of best fit should generally split the data in half, split the points in half. So about half the points are above the line and about half the points are below the line. But it should also do something else. It should also follow the overall pattern of the points. So those are just a couple general rules of thumb for a line of best fit. Does it split the points in half approximately? Does it generally follow the overall pattern of the points? So when we're looking at problem number one here, which of those two lines seems to follow the pattern of points and also split the points in half, the blue line or the dotted line? Now, as I'm looking at them, both of them actually split the points in half, or approximately split the points in half. I guess I haven't counted them. But only the blue line also follows the overall pattern, which is generally going in this direction, right? So as you're reading from left to right, as the x value increases, the y value decreases. So the points go kind of down and to the right. Okay, so the blue line splits the points in half, approximately, and follows the overall pattern. Notice that the other line, this dashed line, doesn't really follow the overall pattern. The pattern is kind of going down and to the right. As you go from left to right, the points just kind of go in the decreasing from left to right direction, and the dotted line has a positive slope instead of a negative slope, so that doesn't seem to really fit. All right, problem number two. Which of those two lines? So if you look at those two lines, you kind of have to look at them a little bit more carefully. But in this case, the line that fits this better is probably the blue line. Again, the blue line seems to be the one that kind of fits. And again, the blue line splits the points in half. Look at it kind of carefully. And follows the overall pattern. Whereas the red line, in this case, the red line does follow the overall pattern. I mean, the overall pattern is kind of going, it's increasing as you go from left to right, it is increasing. So it does do that, so that's good. However, it doesn't really split the points in half. Most of the points are below that dotted line. So doesn't, dotted line, let's just say, dotted line or dashed line doesn't split points in half. It has to be adjusted down just a little bit, kind of like that blue line, and then you kind of get a better split. All right, number three. Which of those two lines? And you kind of look at these even more carefully here and see which one. They both look like they kind of split the points in half, don't they? But which one follows the pattern better? You know, the first time I did this, I actually went through and used a little white pencil here and kind of erased one of the lines so I could kind of see. And if you do that, that dotted line, notice, does kind of split those points in half and does follow that overall pattern pretty well. Versus the blue line, while it splits the points in half, if you erase the other line, let's see if I can just quickly do a little erasing here. At a first glance, it seems like, well, that could be okay, but it definitely feels like that line should be shifted a little bit to follow the pattern and have that slope a little bit less steep. Okay. So I would say on this one, and I hope you agree, that the dashed line is the better one. So the dotted line or the dashed line is better at following the overall pattern. Okay, so they both kind of do the two things that we are asking, split the points in half and follow the overall pattern, but the dotted line definitely is better at following the overall pattern, so I'll just say that. And then the fourth one, again, you kind of have to look at that carefully. If you look at the blue line, of course, both of the points seem to follow the overall pattern pretty well, but the blue line, notice most of the points are above that line. Most of these points right here are above the blue line. There's only a few that are below. So it doesn't really split the points in half very well. So the dashed line does a little bit better job of this. So dotted line or dashed line is better at splitting points in half and following the pattern. And I'm just going to make a little note here on the blue line here is most of the blue line points are above the line. All right. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of how you kind of analyze